A new homeless housing project called Paul's Place is set to open in Davis. Organizers say the unique four-story design, which combines temporary shelter with permanent apartments, will help unhoused people achieve stability. CapRadio's Chris Nichols toured the building.
A large, brightly painted red H rests above the entrance to Paul's Place. The letter started as a symbol for nearby H Street, but architect Maria Ogridziak says it's taken on new meaning.
It's also a goalpost for people. You're here. You can make it.
So that's on purpose.
Oh yes.
It's intentional.
Oh yes. And the H also stands for home and for hope.
The hope at Paul's Place is that features like private apartments, wide open communal kitchens, big windows and balconies will make a difference when combined with mental health and addiction services. Inside, the center has 4 emergency shelter beds on the ground floor, 10 transitional housing units on the second, and 18 permanent supportive housing units, meaning fully furnished apartments on the top floors.
Well, this is the kitchen area. Cabinetry's just gotten put in, and we don't have the appliance in here yet, but there will be a stove, a refrigerator.
Bill Pride leads the nonprofit Davis Community Meals and Housing, which owns and operates Paul's Place. It's provided services for those in need on the same site since the 1990s. At the new center, Pride says people who start out seeking a night of shelter will have the opportunity to gain housing.
I think the idea is to just kind of get across to folks there is a path forward. And I know here it's kind of a linear path. You can go from being on the streets doing the first floor to being on the second floor at the transitional housing, which is a program to help folks, get stabilized.
The building, whose walls are painted sky blue, gold, white, and gray, is named after his late father, Paul, a World War II veteran and prisoner of war who suffered from mental illness. Pride says he hopes Paul's Place can offer residents the healing his father never received. He adds that sobriety is not a requirement to live at Paul's Place, though residents won't be allowed to drink or use drugs in common areas. Advocates say it's crucial to combine housing with services, but some, including Bob Erlenbush of the Sacramento Regional Coalition to End Homelessness, question the Davis Project and its plan to combine multiple types of housing under one roof, especially if some residents are trying to stay clean and sober while others are using.
Mixing populations just takes a lot of education.
Pride says staff will be on site at Paul's Place 24/7. They'll use security cameras to monitor areas outside the building, which has separate entrances for each level of housing.
In my experience, we're going to have problems. I know it's not going to be everybody. It's probably just going to be a very small number of folks, but I would anticipate that, we may have to ask some folks to leave.
Margot Kuchel heads UC San Francisco's Homelessness and Housing Research Initiative. She says the focus on permanent housing at Paul's Place will provide a huge benefit to the Davis community, which has only about 200 unhoused people, but also has some of the highest rents in the Sacramento region. Kuchel adds that mixing different groups won't doom the project.
I don't see it as a particularly big red flag because I think that is true in any shelter or in any permanent supportive housing building.
Pride says Paul's Place, which received a mix of private donations and government funds, should welcome its first residents by the end of the month. He expects all 4 floors to be full by this spring. Chris Nichols, CapRadio News.
For more on Paul's Place, go to capradio.org.